At the conclusion of Observation, the fourth episode of Alien, Earth, Wendy, the first-ever Prodigy hybrid being, makes yet another amazing discovery regarding extraterrestrial life. Wendy uses her brother's lung as a host at the end of Alien, Earth Episode 3 to converse with a young xenomorph in its alien language in the most recent episode's last scene. Kirsh sent the 5 specimens from the downed Weyland-Yutani spaceship to Boy Kavalier's covert Prodigy research island, Neverland, following Wendy's murder of a fully grown xenomorph in the previous episode. Together with a few additional hybrids, such as Curly and the recently renamed Isaac, Kirsh has been researching these animals. Tensions are rising between Slightly and Nibs, 2 hybrids who are both dealing with their own moral quandaries and personal hardships. Slightly has become more vulnerable to Morrow's deceit from a distance, endangering his human mother. Meanwhile, Nibs is exhibiting such alarming instability that Dame Sylvia is forced to take extreme precautions. Strong character development driven by philosophical issues and effective storytelling tactics is one of the reasons Alien, Earth is being hailed as a sci-fi masterpiece after just 4 episodes. This is demonstrated at the conclusion of Episode 4, when Wendy appears to befriend the newborn xenomorph that resided in Joe's former lung in addition to communicating with it. In order to keep Joe with her on the island, Wendy struck a deal with Boy Kavalier to learn how to speak to a xenomorph. Boy Kavalier has already voiced his worries that Joe may become a distraction, which Wendy assures him he won't do, but he grudgingly continues to have Joe around for Wendy's approval as well as for privacy and research purposes. The newborn xenomorph appears to believe Wendy might be its mother at the very end of Alien, Earth Episode 4, allowing Wendy to touch it. Like a typical house cat, it even presses its face on her palm. Wendy can level up and communicate with these creatures, even if it's unclear if she can truly manage them. This should be a major clue as to where the second half of Alien, Earth is headed. Kirsh quickly learned that Slightly is using a bug he put on Morrow's neck in Alien, Earth Episode 3 to communicate with him. Keeping an eye on all the hybrids is one of Kirsh's main goals. He can view retinal images and listen to audio recordings of Slightly seemingly conversing with no one. Additionally, Kirsh recalls the scene where Morrow asks Slightly, "When is a machine not a machine?" before revealing that Morrow intends to have Slightly enter the Prodigy lab with a human rather than a xenomorph egg. Puts his human mother in jeopardy by subtly disclosing his human name to Morrow, and his nervousness causes him to lash out against Wendy and the other hybrids. Slightly has to locate a human to bring into the lab because Morrow threatened his mother and brothers, and it seems that Joe is his best option. Given everything, it's uncertain if Kirsh will step in, but he'll probably let Boy Kavalier know, who might allow Slightly to bring Joe into the lab for research and to help keep Wendy focused. Since being attacked by the eyeball specimen in Alien, Earth Episode 2, Nibs has been the most solitary of the hybrids. In Episode 3, her existential dilemma grew more severe, and in Episode 4, she achieved a psychological breaking point by persuading herself that, in spite of her hybrid status, she is both pregnant and human. The first real hybrid dissident to show her strength against her creators is Nibs. Nibs is declared a level 3 threat and put on lockdown in Dame Sylvia's chamber after threatening her physically. Dame Sylvia is the mother figure for all the hybrids. It's unknown if Nibs' instability results from a computer glitch or from her human consciousness. However, the Level 3 protocol implies that Prodigy has a strategy to keep unmanageable hybrids under control. Given the threat she poses to Prodigy, Nibs might be the first hybrid to be put down, and her circumstances probably won't get any better over the second part of Alien, Earth. Additionally, once they disclose Wendy to the public, she won't be someone or something that Prodigy can promote, so it's likely that Nibs' days on Alien, Earth are numbered. Boy Kavalier still gives Wendy preferential treatment, especially now that she is able to communicate with xenomorphs. Curly, who is obviously envious of Wendy and might even launch an attack on her, will probably continue to be annoyed by this. For the mere reason that it would cause Wendy such pain, Curly might be motivated to assist Slightly in getting Joe inside the Prodigy lab as Morrow requests. Since Nibs can no longer be trusted, Dame Sylvia will probably attempt to help her regulate but will need to keep her confined and isolated. Boy Kavalier might be able to kill Nibs considerably more quickly after learning about it. Compared to Dame Sylvia, Wendy would be feared rather than admired if news spread about her, jeopardizing his entire trillion-dollar hybrid brainchild. Wendy's ability to interpret the Xenomorph language will be the most fascinating part of Alien, Earth Episode 5, since it should provide a solution to the pressing questions: what do they have to say, and, more crucially, what do they want? For the first time in the Alien series, the Xenomorph might be made human. In addition, Yutani is anticipated to exert pressure to retrieve her specimens from Prodigy, which may lead to a great deal of fighting and bloodshed in upcoming Alien, Earth episodes. This episode brings back the dumb Ice Age nonsense. It's really strange. Our heroes are seated there, viewing a computer-generated imagery children's film from more than a century ago on a television screen that adheres to the cassette futurism style. Putting CGI animation on one of these screens is incredibly nonsensical and breaks the experience. FO.